The government found that you could induce by changing the pulse frequency, like Morse code, of the microwaves going into the brain, interfering with the brain, like in the music intro to the example provided as followed. And so what I found while I was doing my own research here was that in his show, usually in the first 5 minutes of a movie is when they'll do the social engineering, and that'll be when you get triggered the most, and that's what creates a trauma bond. But so in this Alex Jones show, there is a voiceover, there's somebody doing a voiceover, but then the background music is playing what sounds to me like Morse code. So they can literally try to tap into your brain with this frequency, with this extremely low frequency, and then program your brain to match the frequency using this Morse code to whatever their program is, which is manufacturing crime, and we'll get to it.
The Sound of Freedom was completed 5 years ago, but Disney fought them in the courts to keep it from being released.
All right, so definitely in the background there, we got an extremely low frequency, and then it is, of course, priming or programming the subconscious mind. By specializing on the pulse frequency, you could induce psychiatric illnesses to the point where a psychiatrist could not tell if it is a genuine psychiatric illness or an induced psychiatric illness.
Hollywood employs several convicted pedophiles.
And of course, our government has to capitalize off of our trauma because that's how they make all their money. And don't fall for it though, because this is all an entrapment operation, which is what MK Ultra is ultimately. And it's to get basically to what they're doing is clearing out the prisons, clearing out all of the psych wards and all of the hospitals so that they can put us there, healthy people there. So by driving them slowly insane with using this invisible weapon and this gang stalking psyop, mind control psyop protocols. So that is a Holocaust, definitely 110%.
And mostly at Disney and Nickelodeon.
All right, and so desensitization methods are also a form of mind control. It's a form of coercion, and what they are actually trying to do by continuously talking about the pedophilia is not only to incite it, but to have the victims or the survivors of it relive the trauma every single day as a form of torture. And they actually use the devices to monitor the target's voice and like their vocal range, so they know when it's scared, and they actually get off on this. And so like they will drive by just to try to scare me so they can control exactly the tone of my voice, and so they can try to get me triggered so I will sound crazier than I actually am. The reason why they need to traumatize so many people is so that they can, specifically their target, is so that they can cause the target to have what I would consider a temporary moment of insanity, and then become or do something violent and become a terrorist, so that they can usher in this martial law.
Who specialize in children's programming and have even rehired pedophiles after they've served light sentences for raping child actors.
All right, and so this right here is the Luciferian or the Satanic frequency. That's an extremely low frequency for sure, and that's a 6.6 pulse for sure, because this is intended to induce severe sexual aggression in men, and it doesn't just induce severe sexual aggression in men, it also induces severe aggression in survivors as well, which is also a part of the psyop.
Hollywood.
Hollywood is the catalyst or the meta model that they are encouraging psychosadists to mirror.
Hollywood has been abusing children since its inception. including child actors of the 1930s, such as Shirley Temple.
And so, as it appears, Alex Jones, or the Alex Jones program, is basically downloading precisely who they want you to target directly to your subconscious mind.
Who wrote that she was constantly molested behind the scenes by powerful men, including MGM co-founder Louis B. Mayer. And nothing has stopped Hollywood from continuing this horrific abuse. It has been known for decades that governments have systemically abused children.
All right, so this is a counter-proliferation program, and counter-proliferation programs are intended to subvert the potentials of a target while punishing them with psychosadist techniques.
Beginning in the 1960s, the German government began placing thousands of foster children into the homes of single pedophiles, and continued doing it up until the 1990s.
All right, so punishing the target audience for speaking out about the crimes against humanity, like rape culture, trafficking, stuff like this, exploitation. It creates the Alex Jones show for myself and for the target audience is creating an electronic targeting holocaust.
Thousands of Catholic priests have been accused of raping children, and no justice has ever come of it.
This is brought about by continually inflicting pain. This is accomplished by a relentless campaign used to demoralize the TI that will create perpetual feelings of intense fear and hopelessness.
Jeffrey Epstein was targeting individuals and recording them raping children as a form of blackmail, so that powerful entities could control them.
All right, so the triggers are part of a behavior modification program called NLP, Neuro Linguistic Programming, which uses anchors and triggers to promote change.
Epstein has disappeared. So has his little black book. Many have claimed that Hugh Hefner was doing the same thing for the CIA. In 1976, Hefner's Playboy magazine published, "The effects on these children can often be fatal."
And all right, so the goal of this PSYOP is pretty straightforward. This mind control PSYOP is to basically transform, through the means of hypnotherapy, all of the surviving victims of child molestation and childhood rape or childhood trauma. They want you to basically become a child predator.
Whether it's from blunt trauma or suicide.
They're actually able to take the secrets that they siphoned, the energy, the intellectual property that they siphoned from my data and from exploiting me by phishing, and then they use this to run a counter-proliferation targeting program.
And those who survive most often struggle with it for their entire life.
To me, sexual abuse, it kills a child.
Okay, Dee-wee. Here we go. Sexual abuse in a child does not kill children. So you were just fact-checked.
I think it kills the spirit of a child. I think it kills
Dee-wee, who gives a fuck about
normalcy
what
in
you
a
think?
child. So I just have spent a great deal of my life, walking around really as a dead person in a sense, because I almost feel like I was murdered.
Child abuse has been used as a form of trauma-based mind control. It forces the child to disassociate, which has been known to create multiple personalities. Kathy O'Brien came from a family of multi-generational child abuse that sold her to the U.S. government.
I developed a compartment in my brain, a little area behind amnesic barriers that was actually the neuron pathway shutting down in my brain in order to compartmentalize the memory of abuse so that the rest of my mind could function normally as though nothing had happened.
My father's sexual abuse expanded into child pornography, and he was sending this child pornography of me through the U.S. mail. He was caught. The pornography was confiscated by a criminal faction of our government. A local politician approached my father and told him that he would receive immunity from prosecution if he would sell me into the CIA's MKUltra Project Monarch.
Some families practice incest and pedophilia to gain power and to maintain it.